I'm sorry.
No worries.
Fine.
How are you?
Fine. Thank you for accepting the invitation.
Absolutely. It's good to
So,
see you.
yeah, this is a podcast I just created during coronavirus time. It's called War of Culture or Cultura de la Palabra, which is basically, an opportunity to structure entertainment and talk to creative people that I really admire for what they're doing in the city, the community, the arts. And, I really have to say, I miss Pam so much.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear you say that, but I also feel the same.
No, this is, Pam is one place that, like, from time to time, I would say, let me have like a really good day and I will go to Pam. It's one of my favorite places in the city.
Oh,
And
that's
I
so good
really
to
miss
hear.
it. And I would like to know, how are you doing? How the museum is transitioning? What is going on?
It's been crazy. You
Yeah.
know, we closed on March 16th, and just like everybody else, all of a sudden we were doing meetings via Zoom. We had an all-staff meeting that morning with 100 and some odd people, and just tried to make the best of what was, I think, an idea that we might be maybe 2 to 3 months out. But of course, now we know that it's going to be much longer than that.
Yeah.
And it's, I say, first there's the shock, but then it's kind of like, what are you gonna do? So
Right.
we did everything that we normally do. We just started doing it online. Very few things have really been cut. Even like a meeting for a new kind of affiliate group. Like we have this international women's committee. So we ended up doing it online, and we had somebody come in. On another occasion, I had a board meeting, and we wanted to honor Susana Ibarguen, who's been on the board for 20 years. And everybody was online. You had about 100 people online. You had
How
people.
about the exhibitions?
And the exhibitions is the hardest part, right? I can remember where everything is in the building. And what we do is we do like little videos, 3 minutes, just talking about a work or talking about a piece in a show. And we just keep doing it. And some of them are great and some of them are not. And it's okay, right? It's okay to make some mistakes right now.
We're all learning and transitioning this time.
Yeah, yeah. There's one on Carmen Herrera, which I think is really amazing.
Nice.
So
So, frankly, let's talk a little bit about you. I think you have a really interesting career as creative. And I understand you came from, well, you have been everywhere, right? Tell
yeah,
me a little bit about your career.
I
What brought you here to PAM as a director now?
so I have to say that I've been very familiar with the museum and Miami for some time. I mean, I started coming to Art Basel when it first started, and before that had been coming through here periodically, whether it was to visit people in the Caribbean or whether it was to have a couple of days here. From New York originally. But I did an exhibition at the museum in 2009 called Neo Art for a Forgotten Faith. So I knew the museum. I knew a lot of the people who were a part of the museum, and always think about it, and always think about. I think the interesting thing that we both believe that this city is unlike any other, and that it is an amazing kind of place for an opportunity to talk about all of the hard things that the world is grappling with right now. And that existed before any of all BLM happened, before COVID. We have been in a position here to talk about race and ethnicity and about people trying to live together in in ways that are more human or more humanist for quite some time. And I think that's the thing that also excites me specifically so much about our museum is that, we were founded not like hundreds of years ago, like these museums in the North,
Mm-hmm.
but only founded 35, 36 years ago. And in the wake of so much disruption and so much turmoil, I mean, of course, you know, people become more aware of it now, but of course, you have you have 1959, you have Peter Pan, you have what's it called, Peter Pan, you have people coming here in the early 60s, then you have 1979 Arthur McDuffie, you have the rebellion of the officers being acquitted in 1980, you have Mariel Boatlift, you have Haiti and all of the
You know all
relations.
of our history.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the best part. And that's when the museum begins. We started in 1984 and we didn't start collecting until 1994, which is really interesting because we started collecting not only with our own Miami Foundation background, but also in a moment that the world was grappling with ideas around multiculturalism, questions about gender, questions about the imbalance of power between men and women, issues of gay rights, civil rights. All of that stuff was coming again to the fore in a global conversation, and that's when we started collecting. So
That's
it makes it really interesting.
And I love your orientation of your museum because it's a modern, right, art museum. But I think what you have been doing lately is really great. I think you're emphasizing or opening up to think about the possibility of Miami as a Caribbean city, as a Caribbean
Exactly.
state. And I love that because I think that enriches and a lot of who we are, right? Because
Yes.
we are not only Cubans here. We are
Yes. Exactly.
Haitians, we are Jamaicans, we're from
Yeah.
Bahamas, we're from Haiti. We
Yeah.
always forget about Haiti a lot when we talk about Miami. And Haiti is such
Sure.
an integral part of Miami. And many
Absolutely.
other places and communities, right? So
Absolutely.
how have you done that? Why do you think it was important to provide this dimension to the museum?
Because like you said, it's us, it's our DNA, it's the thing that sets us apart. You know, I worked in Los Angeles, I worked in Houston, I'm from New York, but there's something that we have the ability to tell stories through modern and contemporary art unlike anywhere else. And the only way that we can do that and be unique is to really embrace who we are here and the community that we represent from being in this place right now. So it just feels like what we want to do is be the best, and we want to be the best at something, right? And the thing that where we can really excel is by being ourselves. Nobody should be able to present the work of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as we do, in my opinion.
Yeah. And what about the
Um,
Caribbean? Tell me, how has been the experience with Caribbean artists that you have presented there? How has been the public response?
it's been fantastic. I mean, you know, I think one of the nice things is so one of our curators, Maria Elena Ortiz, did an exhibition on Firle Baez maybe 3 years ago. And Firle now has had exhibitions at MoMA, exhibitions, Warhol Museum in Pittsburgh, and shows all over the world, all the time, big international exhibitions. But the first real exhibition and catalog was generated here in Miami. Our relationship to her and her experience as a woman who is Dominican and Haitian is it's who we are. And so I think we really have this important position to bring artists to the world. And to embrace that is only makes sense. And people seem to respond to it in a really, really positive way. So we've tried to highlight that relationship. You know, I think one of the most important works that we've acquired recently, I mean, Carmen Herrera and all of the things that we can do around Cuban art, Lolo Sodavia, we just acquired, is to also place the work not only in a Cuban context, not only in a modern context, but in the context of the region as well. And that's an important thing that we will continue to do. We've also, obviously, it's become important because we've gotten funding for that recently from the Mellon Foundation. So we have the beginning of a Caribbean Cultural Institute. And what we have tried to do is be a partner, not just, it's not just about us, it's about the partnership through the region. And so there's an ongoing conference called Tilting Axis. And we hosted one year, and we've been a kind of sponsor in other years. And so that's been a way to, extend the ties and make it about more than just.
I really like that emphasis because honestly, I think there's concern that humanities is kind of a wide enterprise. I have that concern sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you look at institutions, a lot of our institutions, nonprofits, the way they operate is like the white people telling black people what to do or how to use them, how to tell the stories, stuff like that. What I think is important is people understand, and I think your institution is a model in that you have to integrate, treat everybody as equal. We are kind of tired, I think, of the white person telling other people the story of other people. Let other people tell their own story, their own way, And I think you are doing something great. Integrating. You go to the museum and all of a sudden you have artists that you don't know that are contemporary, that are doing amazing jobs, and you can tell by their art from all over the world. And it's universal. Absolutely. What I really like about the Caribbean is so universal.
Yeah.
It's such a mix of so many cultures.
I know.
And some people think that Black culture kind of messes everything up, mess everything up. I don't think so. The other way around. And
it makes it interesting.
Last question that I wanted to ask you is, how do you think the art world in Miami, the local art world, right, can come together or do a process of reflection on everything that is going on, the challenge that we have today?
Yeah, now's the time
to improve it, to embrace it. Because I don't think that conversation happens in many places. I see some places more than others.
Yeah, now's the time. There are a lot of, I think, silver linings out of this challenging time that we find ourselves in. And I believe that is one of them, or it has the potential to be one of them, where we can drive a conversation forward with our collective voices, those of us concerned with art and culture here in Miami. And I think that is getting to be a much more defined and whole conversation than it has been in the past. We all have been touched in some way by things like Art Basel, of course, but I think there's a lot of things that we can do in the absence of the big international art fair that comes to town. There's a lot of things that happen on a day-to-day basis that we really are going to have to focus on.
I would say, if you ask me, how about tapping to the local talent? There's so much amazing talent here that is international and it's local too.
Exactly.
And these people, sometimes, they are more recognized other places than here.
Yeah, and that's something that we would like to change in this moment. We've always had a commitment to artists of Miami and South Florida, but I think that commitment will be much more pronounced in the next few years.
That's great, because I think that's what makes Miami global, is the quality of the talent that we have here.
It's
and
amazing.
I don't think a lot of people tap into that,
It's
we
amazing.
prefer to go look outside, right?
Yeah.
And then we don't recognize how much talent we have here.
Yeah. But to me, that's the interesting thing with the museum as well, is that when the museum first started, there was no collection. It was about showing things from other places. The first big exhibition that happened was a show called In Quest for Excellence. And it was work that was taken from 50-something museums from all over the place, but nothing from Miami, maybe one piece from Miami. And so now it's changed. The conversation has changed, and hopefully we recognize all of the amazing work that there is to be had just right here.
Yeah, I think there needs to be more, recognition of documentation of all the art that is here, that is happening in the city.
I know.
that is quality, that has so much quality, right? So many
Super.
amazing artists. Only in Winwood,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing. You
Yeah, it's
just
special.
it's crazy the studio artists that you visit, right?
It's
Um,
very special.
Tell me, how is your? I said I was gonna do the last question, but I see we still have more time, so I'm gonna go a little bit more.
Sure.
So, how do you, let's say, relate to other institutions? How do you collaborate with other institutions when it comes to the work that you do? For example, I know you have collaborated a lot with the Little Haiti Cultural Center.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we have a very special position there. I mean, so our head of education is a woman named Marie Vickles, who has been working with Little Haiti Cultural Center
It's
for years.
amazing.
Yeah. And so we're very fortunate in that sense. I mean, all around. I mean, I mentioned Maria Elena. Renee Morales is a phenomenal chief curator who grew up here in Miami and has been here for, since for many years and been at the museum and seen this kind of changes and knows better than anyone, so much of the trajectory of art in Miami. So, and then also Jennifer Inacio, who originally from Brazil, but been here for a significant amount of time and has also tapped into, such a worldly conversation, but one that is led from her experience within our region and hemisphere.
That's great.
Yeah, that helps.
Yes. So, what are the exhibitions that are you planning in the future? Are you what are you doing like in the future? How do you see the future for you?
So, we have ambitious ideas and plans for future exhibitions, and we know that the world is going to change. And as I mentioned, we will have a lot more emphasis on our collection because we've done a lot to build up the collection. It's over 3,000 works now and almost doubled in the last 5 years. And so we're going to really look at that. What kind of stories can we tell from that collection? That collection has highlights in artists of South Florida, highlights in Latin American modernism, highlights in Caribbean, highlights in photography, highlights in African diaspora. So how can we highlight that even more so? We're going to do that, but we're also not going to lose sight of some bigger traveling exhibitions that we have our eyes on, and we're trying to find the perfect balance to be as rooted in the community as we possibly can be, and to give people something different that is not of that community, to bring things in, because we recognize, as we said, this is an incredibly worldly community. It is not a monolith. You can't say that one thing defines us. So we want to have a little bit of everything. And we think that we have the building to do that, obviously.
That building is one of the best buildings in the city. It's so nice, right? Are you planning to open progressively or how?
Yeah, so we're trying to, our target date is September 1. And what we would like to do is have, a series of days for friends and members like yourself. And then we open up to the wider public, where we take everything a little bit at a time. That's the target date, right? If you asked me 3 weeks ago, I say, no problem, we're good. Now I have to say, we try.
Challenge, right? But I guess with the right way to do it, right? With masks.
Yeah. And being here and being, outdoors is the new indoors, right? We can do some things outside that you can't do in other places.
Absolutely.
So I hope we can do that too.
Okay. I wish you the best.
I wish you the best. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for your patience. And what is the beautiful drawing behind you?
Which one?
The head over here. Yeah.
That's something that somebody did to me at a fair somewhere.
I love it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Thank you. And I created a little of a like Egyptian altar.
Yeah.
I have been doing this
oh my gosh. So how long have you been here in Miami?
In 2003.
Okay. Fantastic. Love what you do. I think I froze.